3, 4.
We have Bronner, Kessel, and Wilkin, that's 3. We got
That's 4.
Seven of us.
So we need 50% plus 1.
Plus 1, which is only what? So is it rounding down or up?
We're rounding up, we need the majority.
Then 7's fine.
7, I think
We have,
Do you have 6 or 7?
we have,
We have
I
seven.
created a level
Four.
I
I saw that.
13.
yeah, I think we have. I call for the meeting of 2:31. Roll call, Rita.
Putting in the roll call at 4:31 PM. This is the Student Senate General Assembly meeting for Thursday, February 22nd, 2024. We are now completing the roll call, starting with the Executive Council. President Giovanni Michaud.
Present.
Thank you. Vice President Administration and Finance Kai Brito. Present. Vice President Legislative Affairs Margaret Duke. Maggie Duke. Excuse. Okay. Vice President Team Development Annette Carter.
Present.
Thank you. Vice President Michael Malone.
Present.
Thank you. Advisor Green.
President.
Thank you. Senator Angela Villa. Is he excused?
Excuse, it's gonna be late, but.
Yeah, good. Like he told us. Senator Sierra Brunner. Are you there?
Here.
Okay, thank you. Senator T. Clearwater.
Present.
Hey, there you are. Thank you. Senator Kodiak Kessel. Is he here?
Present.
Hey, there we go. Senator Danny Hurd.
Present.
Thank you. So on top of that, Senator Kennedy Washington.
Then we,
Okay, should reach out. Senator Cameron Wilkin. You here?
Hi, I'm present.
There we go. Senator Katrina Willis. Oh, actually, I think I saw that. Yep. And then Senator Stacy Brunner. Stacy. Hey, okay, we heard ya. Thank you so much. With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 senators present, we do a quorum.
really? Consider a motion to approve previous meeting minute.
There are no
No.
minutes.
Oh, I was gonna say I was gonna put in a motion to approve the agenda, sorry. On the-
Which is meeting minute.
Working on it.
Just commentary. So technically, because of open meetings laws, one of the requirements is that we publish meeting minutes, and we're currently not in compliance with that. We are liable to a lawsuit technically. No one would do that, not even me, just for the sake of that. So just pointing that out, that we should try to complete it. I know there's a lot of things going on. I'm not physically able to complete it right now, but it will be nice to have that.
You. Reading and approval of meeting agenda of recorder.
Make a motion to approve the agenda?
Malone,
I second that motion.
any discussion?
It is on the screen right now too. I guess the discussion would be that we just go through the public comment, we leave it on there, or,
I think we can leave it on there.
So that'd be like, okay, just curious.
Okay, everybody was in favor of approving today's agenda, raise your hand.
Got 3 hands up.
3,
Authority currently.
yeah, good, thank you. Public comment, Dr. Daniel is not gonna be able to be with us today. Report from officer, advisor, and standing committee, executive report, president report. Thank you. I'm not gonna say name because I don't wanna forget some other people. Thank you, everybody who went to legislative seminar to represent Madison College. I couldn't be there because I was sick, but I can see you really representing Madison College very well. The other thing I want to talk about is, I don't know if it's come to our attention. It's like like, I'm just gonna generalize it. I'm not gonna put anybody in any name. But it's like, our office should be a place of work. We okay you trying to do like some homework out there, but, be respectful of people who's gonna be in the office with you and even people who's outside. Because it comes to our attention, people are very loud. Because we have to open the door, we have to leave the door open if we're not having a meeting. And what you're gonna say can come out. And let's say I'm joking with someone in the office and someone is passing by, they don't know the context, and be like, really? That's those people representing us? I think it's gonna be great if you be professional at the office, be respectful of your fellow senator, and be respectful of every student, because that's the people we work for. The second thing I want to talk about is, we're gonna talk about it later on the Senate update, the election update. But the election should be a Senate thing, not a candidate, not like, but it's a Senate thing. I want everybody to make a commitment to say what you're gonna do to advance the agenda of make the Senate election as representative as it can be. Last year, I think 43 people voted. 43 people out of like, yeah.
Is that true?
Nothing.
I got it.
No, it's like for me
Oh.
to pass, I get 43 people voted
Yeah.
for me. Imagine I'm representing the whole Madison College, and only 43 people voted for me. And I was the top, like, in each election I run for, I was the top. And I feel like, okay, I was voted president. I, I, I'm grateful, but it was not representative of Madison. That is why we have to promote the election, have many people be on the ballot, and have a student representative from like the regional campuses, get more people involved. It should be like, that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be like a candidate. A candidate don't have to, like, I remember last year, I was the only person who went to the regional campuses, but I didn't go as a student senator. I go as a candidate. Um, in this spirit, I'm gonna go on Tuesday to Reedsburg in Portage. If anybody wanna join me, we can arrange that. And on Thursday, I'm going to Watertown and Fort Atkinson to put flyers, to talk with general like the manager, campus manager, and to talk to some student if I see some student over there as well. At the Green River.
One quick question, for everyone online. Can you hear, President Michon, or is he, sounding a little quiet to you? I just want to make sure everyone can hear you. President Michon is the big thing. So,
Can anybody hear me online? Okay.
so that was the first bit. The second bit is, I will actually be discussing more about Senate elections now in my report. I would hold the thought of the regional campuses at the moment, because we're gonna get a little bit farther deeper into this, and we need to pool our resources right now at this point, and so I'll hold that thought, unless if you definitely have commitment from other senators that are gonna go, because it's just an all hands on deck situation. So
If nobody wanna go, I will go, because that's the commitment I make to myself. And I say that like when I first joined, I was gonna have like a visit to those campuses. Yeah, Tuesday, next Tuesday.
Which campus?
We can manage the time, we can put the time. It's gonna work. Reedsburg and Portage.
Okay.
Any other question for?
I was just gonna say, I can't join you. Those are my
I
Tuesdays.
know.
Actually, I got it. Tuesday, what time?
We don't have time yet.
Okay.
We're just gonna manage it with everybody.
Do we have like specific presentation or student senate election promotional material to give to class, like during classes, can we give do we have materials to talk about the student senate elections?
Yes,
Yes.
we do. We don't have a lot of, physical materials. That's something that we're trying to work on, making sure that next week we have available. But in terms of presentation and PowerPoints, mentioning that you were talking about that, at the executive team, we do have one on the SharePoint. There's tons of resources, right? It's, and so, yeah, we'll make sure that everybody knows that they are, coming up with this. A good question though.
Okay, thank you. Last thing I want to talk about is the position and the communication coordinator. That is the past 2 minutes. We don't have a report because we don't have someone to pull out the report. And if anybody is interested, like I was making a joke last week, I say I was gonna pick up someone, no, I'm not gonna do that. The world already have too many dictator, I don't want to. Yeah, if anybody, even if you don't, you cannot do the coordination, like the communication coordinator position, like full time, like fully, just the minute. If you can just pull the minute, that will be great, because as Vito pointed out earlier, we are liable because we have to follow the open meeting law, and we don't like produce a meeting minute. And the last thing for this time, this last thing is we have to find representative to send to Student Affairs Council. I think that's one of the position who's in, I think, Academic Council as well. Like, I'm not really worried about the internal committee, but I'm more worried about the shared governance, because we don't have anybody represented over there. Sometime I could go on the Student Affairs Council because I was the representative last year. And I still have contact over there. I think they send me the minute sometime. But for the academic council, we don't have anybody. If anybody wanna be volunteer, just submit your application and we will decide on that on the next executive council.
Yeah, I just got like, I was actually talking with the, in the team development about if possibly, Kai Brito, could you, it may be going on in the future, the next student senate, recess or successors. Is it possible if we could put like the times? Because like a lot of the time when I'm looking at, like, I have no idea when the legislative affair meeting is or the student council, like maybe I might be able to go, but I have no clue when they're at. So I was thinking about like maybe like they're like with the agenda, like possibly adding the time, the date, and the rooms or format. Because like as you're talking about the student affair council, I have no clue what time that is and where it is.
Sometimes they meet on Friday, but I don't, like for now, I have to call Nico Kangan.
It's honestly really hard because because shared governance councils are college councils, right? Every admin coordinator who helps to set up the meetings with the co-chairs, they figure out how they want to do their scheduling with the members of that council. Sometimes you have councils where they don't meet for long periods of time, or others meet very frequently, right? There is really no universal like scheduling that they must adhere to with that and how the bylaws listed for them. So it's honestly, it's hard to give you, say like, yeah, we can put that in the Senate calendar, for example, and then everyone has the ability to see when those things are meeting. The best bet is to ask me, or if you have your networking contacts with anyone in shared governance, to be able to say like, hey, I'm looking at interested here. when is the meeting? Because yeah, it's really hit or miss, unfortunately.
Thank you. Any other question?
Just more of a comment or response to you. Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I think initially during the last fall, we tried to do that, but I guess it just got dropped. So that's a good idea that we should implement it.
But another thing, that's a lot of responsibilities. I mean, like, I guess whoever, yeah, I don't know how that would work though. So, yeah, that's a lot of communications and, yeah.
We do have a sheet that like where you could theoretically post time, and I think we just need to create like some sort of thing we can post online or like in a document that people would be able to see it. So it's definitely possible. It's just we need to have the I don't know like wherewithal to actually just do it. So maybe that'll be like our first thing post spring break to figure out.
I see you up here. No, oh, thank you. That's conclude my report. Administration and Finance Committee, Rita?
Yes, so as you saw on the agenda today, we'll be taking a large portion of this meeting to talk about the three-year plan. So I'm not going to share the details for now, but I did complete a majority of the three-year plan. It's in very good state right now. Trying to get it complete for tomorrow to be sent out to Director of Student Life, Ellie Rome, so that she can send it out to the candidates that are interviewing. But you'll learn more about that later on in the conversation. We have our Senate Finance Committee that we operate on, and that main thing that we discussed was approving budgets for La Raza, and AASA is working on their spring break trip as well. So those things are coming up. But for La Raza, one of the conversation points that we had is like, what makes a culturally significant event that could be funded? Like, how much is food part of the culture versus just being like a dinner part of it? So these are the questions that we had, and being able to support students and having that experience over their spring break and like building out the identity, because Madison College wants to support that for the identity-based clubs, but it's like having an equitable funding sources for that and making sure that people follow certain guidelines and of what they're returning on there. So the big things are discussing that. They got approved for about $3,500 worth of funds, but they made an additional request for additional about 1,000 extra. Where that being like spoken word, which part of the venue does include some food, but that's not like the main event into it. But to send them to this event and not have part of the food, it's almost like these are the discussions we're gonna be having. And just for your knowledge, advisory group, Cole did express interest in coming, and he wanted to invite the president to come there too, of La Raza. So Princess and Fernando might be coming as well.
I
But
haven't
Cole,
honestly truthfully talked to Ellie yet about it.
he expressed interest.
but that is good to know that I can answer them.
Yeah, he sent me a thing. He's
We'll
like, yeah,
talk-
me and the
we'll talk
boys
about it.
rolling up. So I don't know. Yeah, and then he sent us something back. But yeah, he does seem to be interested in coming, which is good to get more students coming to the finance council meeting. That's Monday, 3:30 p.m. So we'll have that. But otherwise, the office hours got posted a little late because of WSG. But overall, I think we're doing good things because my main focus was the three-year plan. So we're mostly on that. We'll discuss that later on. Any questions? I haven't slept much, and I'm like physically not doing well at this time being, like a little antsy, I guess. No questions? We can move on then.
Thank you. This is the African Committee, VP Joe, excuse. Team Development Committee, VP Carter.
So the team development committee met yesterday. Cameron was kind enough, Senator Willis, Wilkins? Okay. I'll say a name right eventually, was kind enough to take notes, seeing how I was getting my car repaired, my time. But anyways, we talked about what we want to do or the ideas that people had, mostly Danny and Cameron, because I was all in a bewilderment state of things that we should look at providing for the next round of senators. Some of those ideas were to do some tutorials, like on how to log hours, but like an actual video. RSVP for meetings and events, especially with Teams for people who are not used to Teams. It's not something that, is used in high school necessarily. Let's see here, how to read the Roberts Rules of Order cheat sheet. Talk about, Danny already mentioned about committee meetings being posted in advance. Let's see here. what does it say, counsel for, oh, and maybe having a counselor or someone that comes to speak with us about how to speak as one voice, even when we're in disagreements, as a professionalism, how to write a bill or resolution, because there was a lot of going back to the table and people figuring out how it works. And then a template for the meeting track and to remove the 4-H parliamentary procedure video and do our own. And that is did I forget anything? Hopefully not, because I read off of Cameron's thing. I was smart. I went and got it. Thank you, Cameron. End of team development meeting, or end of report.
Thank you. Public Relations Committee.
Thank you, President Michaud. This week, we did not have a PR meeting due to my presence at State Leadership Conference today. Things that we have completed though, we have completed a flyer for our committee that's currently going to go under review for some edits. Continuously working on the Student Senate website, particularly in regards to the election section. So we have all the information and everything up to date for when all that starts up. And then the last thing that has been worked on extensively is different things with regards to the Student Senate newsletter, regards to bills 1 and 2, as well as Senate resolutions 1, 2, and 3. Those have all been sent over to the Clarion and are awaiting to be published. Our next meeting will be March 7th at 2 p.m.
What day is that?
That is Thursday.
Thursday at 2 p.m.
Yep.
Okay. And that's the regular standing time?
Yes, it is.
Resident.
Can you, do you have like a calendar invite that you have been sending out to committee members?
Yes, I do, and I
Can
can.
you send, I'm sorry, can you send it to, cc.senate@madisoncollege.edu on there? That's where, and I'm gonna also ask,
I already did that.
okay, you did, cool.
Yep, can definitely do that.
That's perfect, right, awesome, thank you.
Thank you. Advisory report, Advisory Grid.
Hey, so yeah, WSU was great. I'm happy everyone had a good time. I'm happy everyone got something out of it. That's what it's there for. So that's awesome. And yeah, and that there was some fun to be had. So yeah, the Senate elections, yeah, we're in a bit of a pickle here. So, the issue is we have no time. We only have one applicant. The applicant is Michael. If you are planning on being on Senate next year, you need to get your applications in like yesterday. I understand that we've been busy, but I'm just saying like, yeah, that's a big thing. I'm gonna say, I'm happy, Senator, that you brought up the materials for classroom visits. Because I'm gonna need to have a VP Carter. I'm gonna be working with you next week specifically. Everyone needs to be doing classroom visits, all right? That's, quick. It's a quick 5-minute. You ask the instructor if they're okay with it. Usually they are. Present, boom, done. It counts as office hours. And, I have all the materials for it, right? So that used to actually be a requirement back in the day. But it helps. Word of mouth really is our biggest thing. It helps email communication and word of mouth. So, doing that. That also leads to, I respect that you want to go to regional events. I'm going to try to change your mind on that. A little bit worried about you, VP Greedo, right there. So I'm not gonna change your mind on that. But we need to be focusing on trying to get every person that we possibly can to apply, because like you said, we have about 10,000 students, right? And you had what, 46, 43, something like that? So about 9,000 students we didn't reach them, right? And I know I'm very, my numbers are not very closely precise, but that's a problem, right, in general. We obviously always struggle with trying to get outreach, but our biggest things are, saying, hey, I think you might be good at Senate. I want you to you know, when we had Sabrina Rogers and how we had Senator Washington, for example, or we had Senator Avila, those are direct examples of things that, you know, we speak to them, they come to a meeting, they understand a little bit, and then they actually end up joining because they realize that they like it. We need it's been actually even requested from Ellie that everybody find at least one person that they can get to fill the application and identify that might be a good fit person. Because usually there's one, right? At least one that could potentially be interested. I'll get you one sec, Senator Burr. The newsletter, and I don't really understand what you're doing with that. But that I've been told I can step in right now, right, from Ellie, right?
Yep.
So we're not, if you have something that's already in the works with Doug, continue on, but we're gonna put that on the burner.
Anything over there is was previously in
Okay,
the
so
works.
the focus in next week is gonna be a big on nothing but elections if we can do it, right? So I'm gonna be figuring out how to get some tabling, like actually get some tabling and supplies going at trucks over the majority of the week. I'm trying to reach at least 4 days out of the week, probably not on the Thursday because I come in late, but every other day of the week, having a table out front of the atrium, right up front of Student Life, where we're out there, the signs and everything. I will be sending out sign geniuses and everything. I need everyone to try to see if they can find 30 minutes again. And those are office hours as well to be available to just, hey, how you doing? Just we're looking for that quick pitch. VP Malone is going to be working on trying to get the flyer that we talked about in the executive team meeting good to go so that I can get it before the Student Activities Board meeting, President Rochon, and then I can send it off duplicating and then have something latest by Tuesday afternoon. And then we at least have the rest of that week to have some material. And that's the best I feel like we can pull off right now on that. Yeah, we are in push season, right? So VP Malone, I also need you to be sending out communications over Wolfpack Connect. Actually, it would be nice if everyone could send out something in Wolfpack Connect in the feed, just talking about what has, like the reference, what Senate shown you, given you, or improved on your leadership, or you've seen be a positive change to the student experience. And then VP Malone, you're going to be targeting more specifically on saying, hey, Senate elections are happening. You need to get the deadline in, right? That's the focus, right? And I need everyone to be chipping in here. Like I said in the email earlier, and I really do appreciate the fact that everyone has been, and I know I'm a little over time here, that everyone's been so well tonight with being respectful of the email that I had sent. That means a lot, and I really respect that. But we're stronger and more effective as one unit than as individual ones, right? And so I know we can pull this off. I've seen the work that you guys have done in the fall. We gotta get some momentum, right? There's nothing that could have been really done to avoid this. There isn't really anything that could have been done. I tried to prevent everything I could. And like I sent you that message last night, Ronnie, right? That we're looking good. And because I did a bunch of work on the website. Well, we are looking good. We are securing the website front, securing the front, having the business image up there. We do have some circulating QR codes going around, but they don't have anything that'll link to an actual flyer that actually kind of speaks and advertises us a little bit better. We do have that one ad in the Clarion, but we don't know how much that's going to reach. We do have to be doing a lot more with the constant contact this next week. I'm going to be doing. But unfortunately, I knew Ellie would be a little bit panicky when I brought up elections and how they're going. But she's very panicked. And this is, I was worried that we only had one candidate. But this is not supposed to be like this. We couldn't have avoided it with WSG happening when it was happening. And we usually have the deadline for the applications pushed back by about a week because we have a week of time where the WSG happens and then the elections. So unfortunately, it doesn't work out like that, this year. So I'm throwing that out there, and I'm saying I'm gonna be in communication with everybody, right? And you everyone to just to step up and you're all on this. And I know I'm asking a lot, but remember why we're doing what we're doing, right? And I'm sorry I went over time. I will be quiet now and wrap up my report, right?
Senator Hayden.
Like, what is the hard deadlines for turning applications in it for the
March 3rd at midnight.
tomorrow?
March.
Oh, March 3rd.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
March 3rd, okay.
There is a possibility that we may be able to extend it back a week. But that's a contingency plan that, again, is a last ditch effort, if things just get even worse. And I don't think we're there yet. It had happened back in 2019. But I think the fact is we haven't been able to focus on advertising as much because we've been focusing on things like the 3-year plan, focusing on things like, doing the WSG and the plan for that, focusing on all the different committees and councils and stuff that you guys have already been taking on, and you guys don't have your full strength, right? So you guys have been taking on more with less. And again, that's why it's turning in order. So March 3rd is the deadline. And then the campaigning for people who want to be in the Senate happens, you get back from spring break. That's your campaigning period. April 29th is when there's gonna be it's April 29th to I'm sorry, it's March 25th to the 29th is when the actual voting happens. And the 29th at noon is when we're gonna find out who is who up next to him.
So last year, I remember this, that me and Michael made videos about our students' Senate candidacy, and then we actually had over spring break to make it. Do we not have that extension period? Like people have to get all their application.
You do have, no, but you do. So I mean, you technically have spring break. That's your campaigning period, right? You're deciding to do. I'm not factoring in the fact that spring break is a campaigning opportunity. I guess I'm trying to be more mindful of that time off is much needed.
No, not that. I meant more like we have the opportunity to like turn in like our Senate candidate bios and a video to be published. Do people still have that opportunity? Do they get everything in by
You still have that
third?
opportunity, but that's, again, it's the third. I mean, I think it was the 5th last year.
No, but can we still have the videos ready to publish for the website? 'Cause I
Yep,
think-
over spring break, I will be putting together the link.
Okay, great.
For every one of the candidates with the video and the buyers and everything.
So we still have time to make a video because I cannot do it by the 3rd, so.
No, this, what you're talking about is more about campaigning. It's not like you send this video when we start the campaign,
Okay.
not like when you submit your application.
Just submit the application for now, the campaigning,
Okay.
the video. None of that stuff is gonna be being even touched or put together until the week of spring break.
Also, when we send out the newsletters, can we just have like some review? Because I know that that's gonna come out, but like when we create it, I would like to be able to review what's going in the newsletters in the Clarion before they go out.
Yeah, like, you mean the ads themselves? Is that what?
That too, yeah, I think we should just have some oversight on what's.
But I guess I'm not sure what you mean when you talk about the newsletter. The only thing I've seen go out in the Clarion newsletters are the agendas.
So I saw that. we
Or are you
published
talking about the
something
thing
about?
DP Malone is doing?
Yes, that too, all of it really, not just that,
I
everything.
didn't know about, I had, are they surprised to see that?
I think I have something online. No, Wilkins.
Yeah, regarding elections, is it true that we can't campaign on like Senate achievements? Like if we passed a bill or something, I couldn't like
Yeah, I
run
would-
being like, this is something
Yeah,
we've done
I
in the
would.
last year.
I would try to, if you were in an interview and someone said, why would you be good for this job? For me, I wouldn't say, hey, because because one of the big things I did was bring this initiative forward and it became a, a thing and, I would speak to the qualities and characteristics of who I am and a good leader and a good, all these things. That's the, I think the reason behind that rule, right? We don't want to be misrepresenting ourselves and or misrepresenting the organization by taking away. I think sometimes the college has a tendency to forget very much so the things that Senate has done for students. And that's a great example of the misrepresentation. So having that separation of the accomplishments of what Senate's done has been done over a term or multiple terms with multiple groups of people involved versus what you're doing as an individual and what characteristics and qualities you have to make you a great candidate for the position. Does that make sense how I explained it?
Yeah,
So
I
basically-
guess I'm just thinking like there were a couple bills that like I know me, Mike, like one bill in particular that me, Mike, and Kodiak worked on, and like it was just us three, and I feel like that would be something worth campaigning for. Like if I'm like, this is what I've been doing for the last year, I feel like people would want to know that. If I was like, yeah, I've already been a senator, they would be like, well, what did you do in the last year?
I would, give me 1 second, it's gonna work. I would ask, can we, maybe for 5 minutes, if it's okay, suspend rules so that we can talk openly? I want to try to continue within.
I'll motion that.
The second,
I'll second that.
okay, discussion. Everybody was in favor of suspend Robert rule for the duration of this discussion, raise your hand.
We got one hand up.
I think that's majority.
May I ask when I hear what you're saying, I first think about, well, you could still speak to, there's a lot of things you could speak to on how you had to write that bill. I'm going to ask instead what bill you're referring to, because I might be able to provide even more to it. But writing a bill itself is not an easy task. It does require having to think in a mentality that is not usually typical of a normal human being. It does require collaboration with other people involved. I mean, those are characteristics that you can speak to, right? So I guess my next question to you goes, what is the specific bill, if you're comfortable sharing, that you're referencing to?
It's resolution number 2
Yeah.
on the
Yeah, it was the resolution.
And you're, refresh my memory.
effective services, like recognition week.
May I ask what you would like in your mind, because I feel like you have kind of an example that you might have in your mind of how you would want to portray it as a usage. How would you want to think about using that, and so I can get a better understanding and give you a more clear answer? Does that make sense how I'm trying to say it? Like, I feel like you know how you have an idea, kind of sounds like, of how you want to use your
I think he's asking,
Yeah,
can he use
I
it?
mean,
well, I guess my question is in what sense? Do you have a scenario that
He's gonna say that we worked on this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's probably gonna go with the direction of, we did protective and emergency service this week. Here's what we did with the bill, and then you could correlate the bill to, like you're saying, talk about like the accomplishments or what makes you like a good candidate.
Oh, you remember?
You could take, here's what we did with X bill, X resolution, whatever, and this is what we got out of it. This is how we, this quality or whatever.
It is
you're linked to.
perfectly okay to say that if you did help do something on a specific, on anything that was sent, it's not taking full on ownership, right?
Correct.
But to say, hey, I helped contribute on this, I helped contribute on these topics or these needs for students. There isn't anything, I've read over a few different terms of applications, of senators, and they've used things like that before, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just making sure that you're clearly identifying your part that you've done and how it is showing, again, you're trying to sell yourself as to why it's, saying, hey, this is part of the reason as to what makes me so valuable or wanting to be, wanting to vote for me is I'm gonna have done these things that's helped, does that kind of now make you feel like give you a more clear answer and make you feel a little bit better about the situation?
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Okay, sorry if I botched a botched job of explaining it originally, and I didn't mean to, that.
For me, I feel like they have a simple answer to that. When we say you cannot campaign with Senate material, that's mean you cannot print out your flyers at the Senate office.
Yep.
You cannot use the Senate office as a meeting to campaign to people. You cannot use Senate tabling to promote yourself. But your accomplishment is part of what you do. You should be able to tell people, this is why you should vote for me, because this is what I've done before. If we stop you from doing that, that is unfair to you, because it's like, I'm trying to get a job, but they already have red tape will tell me I cannot use my accomplishment. It's just I have to start like zero with everybody. That is unfair.
I think what they're saying too is like, you can't say, oh, as Senate, like we created like the food pantry. Cause like, bro, did you really, Cam? Like you didn't, neither did I, right? So like, we just can't say things that we didn't actually work on. So you can say Student Senate made like, textbook affordability. Well, yeah, they did it, but we didn't specifically work on it. I think that's like the common sense way to look at it. Is that right, everyone?
For
This
me,
is the biggest thing I would say, right, is, that I've known this, you cannot do these things. Don't campaign the program day and stay out of elections. Stay out of anything that does with the behind the scenes for elections, which we do a good way of separating that by just having the VP of LA and the Senate advisor handling everything that deals with elections. Even the president stays out of it. But again, as just some good reminders, doing anything that deals with elections on the back end, you better walk away from that and recuse yourself, because that can be looked at as, someone that could be looked at as you have an upper hand. But
Can you explain that more? I'm not sure.
So,
that's
like-
applicable to us?
so, or I mean, if you were say on, I was on the Legislative Affairs Committee during the year that I became president. If I had been involved and directly involved in any way with the messaging and reaching out to some of the other candidates, to utilizing the resources I had available to me in the Senate office, to again, it's speaking and misrepresenting myself and your Senate presence. I mean, even we don't do the actual physical things, but if we did, I mean, it does list it like handling of ballot or ballot boxes. But if we did, not participating in any of that, like just keeping yourself out of the.
I guess, okay, so that doesn't apply to us, but what does apply to us is that, I mean, last year, I straight up told people, hey, open up the email on your phone, vote for me here. Here's all the other people that I wanted to them to vote for. So that's fine. Okay, cool. Just curious, because that's the only thing that really applies to us.
Remember, like I was saying with you, President Shaw, I said, there's campaigning for Senate and what Senate does. And then when you clock out in that position for the day or whatever, then there was, if you're an actual candidate that applied, then there is campaigning as yourself, the individual person who applied, right? So there was the difference. And as long as you're keeping those two things separate in a healthy way that doesn't, have any malicious intent or dips into, it's all good. It's all gravy. And you have every right to say, vote for me, do this. It's all good, right? So I only brought that up as a way to, say this is the only thing I've ever seen being a big red flag. that one thing. And again, like you said, it doesn't apply, right? So,
Okay, so we just don't, so none of us would work on it, just Maggie, basically.
yeah, and even then I have more, if anyone does submit an application, I have the only one that actually has access. No one has access, which eliminates the risk for.
Yep.
Right there, so.
No, it's good to have Senate, like, election, safety, security,
Yeah,
kind of stuff.
Thank you. I think that is the,
yeah, we,
the longest, advisory report.
Yeah.
here. If you could.
Do we have access to any of the materials from before? Like, I remember seeing like emails about Senate sign up. I was looking for some, that I wasn't ignoring you guys, but I can't find anything older than this past, school year. But I remember something about like sign up for Senate and it had information on there. There was like a site-wide email sent out, because I'm wondering if that's something we should do soon.
that's what I'm referring to for next week is.
Okay,
That's gonna be on, we're gonna utilize WorkPack Connect as that's on new major
okay,
update platform and our subscription that we pay for with Constant Contact, which allows us to target the entire student body and then specifically aim it at specific, if it's regional campus or if it's a specific type of student and whatnot, and it allows us to see the demographics and
okay.
things, all right? Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Report from Special Select Committee, Student Activity Board, Vivi Guido.
Thank you so much. Upcoming this week, our big presentation will be our March 1st presentation on the 3-year plan, which will be coming up. That'll be coming up soon, and that's why we're having the discussion today. But overall, what happened last week was the presentation on the Volunteer Center and the ELT for the Volunteer Center. Some of the questions that we had were about their compensation package increase. They wanted to the major update to their plan was they wanted to go from a stipend position to an hourly rate position. Some of the concerns that me and VP Crowder had were that, they were valuing every single other position at 10 hours, whereas the Goodman South position was, authorized at, 5 hours, so half the amount, and every single other position was at 10 hours. So, we talked to Alex and Scarlett about it and, just having that level of equity between it and just creating the opportunity for people to, even if the position doesn't require 10 hours now, if you don't invest in it and create opportunity for them to develop the work to get to that point, then it's never going to get there. So you need to have some investment. So, and just in order to prioritize it more and have some equity between the positions, I told them that I think they should make it equal across the board for those requests. And, no matter how the budget ends up getting approved there, but they had a pretty big budget request increase. And I do know that it's just time to mention it. Green, should we say it? Can I say it? About the compensation study report.
That's fine.
Sure, like a year back, there's a compensation study report that only certain positions would get changed to hourly. Those would be like the executive director positions, like Senate President's hourly, but like we are not hourly, you're not hourly. So those are things to consider. They might not get approved for that, even though they made that big budget request. It might not be in the cards for them to get that based on how the other organizations are set up and the allocation of the student activities fee. So that might not end up being the case, but there's that. For ELT, they made a budget request increase of, I think it only ended up being about 11,000. That was mostly for more club funding events. The other request that comes from the SAD is the travel funding request, which they made a request to go from 40,000 to 55,000 because we've been running up on approving requests from La Raza, from and all the other types of student clubs that go through and make the request to have those types of travel for the national travel budget. And that's actually closer in alignment with athletics, which is currently at 70,000, and they might even be increasing that this year. I don't know what their budget is going to be because they're presenting not this week, but next week. But upcoming this week will be the Clarion for all 4, Yahara Journal, the Clarion newspaper, Clarion Broadcasting, and there's a 4th one in there for student media that they're a part of. But that I'll have more report for y'all tomorrow. But that's where we're at on those budget talks. Any questions?
Do you know how ELT is paid right now? Are they stipend like we are?
They have 4 positions currently. They're not stipend, they're hourly. So that was a big discussion about that. And it was different because they had a smaller team, and they their impacts are not working currently up to 10 hours. They're authorized to work up to 10 hours a week, but they often don't meet that requirement. So it ends up being more than what the stipend compensation is, but they also end up having more direct outcomes and impacts. So I don't know what the reasoning was to allow them to do it, but I think a lot of it had to do is that they had a very outlined role guidance about what they were specifically achieving, and also a lot of that has to do with their specific event, the Student Activities Award event. So I think that was like the reasoning behind what they were coordinating. But other than that, I don't know more about it. You'd have to talk to Ellie about that because she'd have more info.
I was just curious because I wonder if that's why like some people go to ELT rather than coming to us, where I feel like, we should be having an equal amount of impact on the school body as a whole. So.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for Affordability Committee, Senator Sierra Brunner.
No report. The next meeting is on Monday.
Thank you. What time on Monday?
$11.
Thank you.
I was thinking about the actual one.
Regional Outreach Engagement Committee, Mr. Malone.
Thank you, President Michaud. At our last meeting we had, we discussed in depth goal number 2, the Goodman South and Regional Campus Outreach Advocacy. There are a few things that came out of that as far as action steps. Just talking to like the front desk people more to ensure all the services are consolidated, making sure we have a presence by providing information, attending events, using rooms for hybrid meetings, soliciting anonymous feedback and having somebody check the boxes. Following up with our advisor on why regional campuses haven't been filled since 2022, among many other things.
I can hear it.
Thank you. Transportation Analysis Committee currently vacant. Student Parent Support Group, recorder.
Student Parent Support Group, I do not have a report for. We do not have our next meeting until March. Let me look. March 6th at 11.
Thank you. Public Safety Committee, Advisory Committee, Senator Castle. I did the job.
It's not present here.
Did the job. It wasn't here earlier.
It was very good.
Is he coming back on?
We were just gonna move on. Inclusion and belonging coordination at the Clearwater.
So announcements only, basically, no report. This will be obviously the first one I would have given. However, this is a new position altogether. So it's kind of hard to have anything to report on since it's, kind of cutting the red rope here, at the ribbon here, cutting the ribbon here on this. Some of the things that I plan on doing moving forward, is a lot of the stuff that I had planned on prior with the Racial Equity Committee. As noted, I stated many times, that it needs to be institutionalized to move forward with anything. So one of the things that I've been working on is working more closely with, the tribal liaison, Michaela, because they have some plans going on, some ideas that I've had for a while. And through that tribal liaison position, hopefully we can put together kind of a plan to do some of these things. One of those things was more outreach towards all together, rural areas using technology access and everything. And with Michaela on board, we would be able to talk about the impacts it would have on reservations and the access to Indigenous students who might want to attend here, because for one, it might make it a little easier for them to transition if they're looking to go into UW. So there's definite possibilities with that. Additionally, I have made mention to a few people here, but I'd like to more formally announce that I am working on trying to move forward with the higher ups in the school with trying to create a consortium agreements with tribal colleges to create a secondary pathway for languages here at the school by offering Indigenous languages as pathway options instead of some of the other electives or other language courses. So that way, instead of whitewashing Indigenous languages and cultures, they can actually learn authentic language and culture. That ends my
Are you gonna plan to have like a regular scheduled meeting for?
I have been wondering about that. Just because, yeah, like I said, it's the first week. With everything having to go on, I have my transfer going in for UW, but ultimately this needs to start getting off the ground. I feel like the initial one would be a very informal one. Just because with this being a new position, I feel there needs to be a little more awareness brought in with it. I had the same challenge with the Racial Equity Committee. So I welcome anyone and everyone within the student senate. But at this current time, nothing is planned just because I'm not sure what that availability looks like and who I first would be able to reach out to. I do plan on going to the regional campuses. So hopefully by the end of next week, I can have my response to how regularly, because obviously we need to have meetings. Right now I'm thinking bi-weekly might be good, just so that there's not a big bite out of this and nothing to report on.
Thank you, Senator Clearwater, and congratulations on getting the position as well. If anybody knows, it's like me and Senator Clearwater are the pioneer of getting that position.
Yeah.
Being permanent. It was the Racial Equity Committee and we'll work on that and I'm very proud.
I'm very happy to bring you down that too. You were like, I've had enough of all the like little stuff, like, yeah.
Thank you. Report from regional and metro campuses, Reedsburg, Senator Stacy Brunner.
There's no report.
Watertown currently vacant, Fort Dodge currently vacant, Port Atkinson currently vacant, Goodland South currently vacant. Report from College Assembly and Chair Governing Council, College Assembly, Senator Aaron.
Yeah, we met on February 14th. And basically there's some announcements. So the Terry S. Webb Shared Governance Leadership Award and voting and nominations are opening in March. Then a presentation was given at the assembly for the employee apparel policy to comply with the IRS requirements. And the vote will take place next month to approve the necessary changes for the employee apparel policy. And Kai Brito gave a presentation on his proposals for the when should there be 100% refund if you drop, or what should that deadline be? And then another presentation was given to about improving the food security issue at Madison College. Finally, we did some workshops, things so that we could figure out like the direction of the college assembly. So a lot of people were giving their own ideas about maybe consolidating the councils and making it more accessible. And on February 28th, there's going to be an optional college assembly meeting to go over the discussed proposals, and that will be the end of my report.
Thank you. Academic Council currently vacant, Diversity and Community Relationship Council, maybe Carter.
So we do not have a meeting until March 6th at 2 p.m.
Thank you.
And I guess there is a question now, do we both continue attending the meetings? Or does it move over?
That, give me, I would like to speak about that next executive, team, meeting.
Okay.
So we can, cause I did bring that to the Greedo, so it's, yeah,
Okay.
let's get, I think we can have an answer next week, next year, right?
Okay.
Thank you. Facility and Planning and Investment Council, Senator Willis, excuse, Finance Council, Brito.
Our next meeting will be on Friday, March 22nd, just coming back from spring break. Overall, you already heard from Senator Hurd about our presentation to the college assembly on our 100% tuition refund. So we'll be kicking that back to our council and taking feedback before we formalize it into a question and vote it into our next issues question, which will be worked on for the next academic year, as well as the remainder of this one. So with that, it gets approved, then that'll be the issue that we take up. A question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Sorry, 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m.
so is that for just Madison College or all of the technical?
So
colleges?
our conversation will be specifically just for Madison College, but the idea is that we could be a leader to other colleges. And that, you know, if we're operating within the confines of what's listed out in the Wisconsin Administrative Code for the Wisconsin Technical College System, then, you know, our template could be something that other colleges could follow. Already, we've spoken to Dr. Bill Dotery about, he's an academic registrar and he's talked to other colleges about this concept. They've had meetings about it and most colleges seem to be interested in some variation of this. The details about what specifically works with them in their billing cycle and their structures is what's making it a little like inconsistent with some of the rules. But if we have a general model, maybe they could also follow the same rules.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Thank you. Information Technology Council currently vacant, Institutional Effectiveness Council, Senator Castle. I think it's still.
He's not back. I'm actually late then.
You have
I left early.
Senate Effect Council currently vacant. Do we want to? Have a guest?
What?
I think we have a guest.
I'm just, I'm not saying anything other than just noting that we have a guest.
Hello, I see we have Zane
Ritzy.
Wiki.
Ritzy.
Ritzy.
Hello. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi.
She's awesome.
Yeah, my name is Rachel.
Oh.
Oh, do you know?
No,
From awesome.
I'm not sure. Maybe.
She knows Shin, our former senator, Mom.
Yeah. And welcome to Senate. From the Senate meeting. Unfinished business, 3-year plan discussion, Victor Brito.
Would you mind bringing that up, Sean, just on the screen?
I've been taking meeting minutes this entire time, so.
Really?
Guys,
Slow
so,
down, it's been brittle, I mean. Yeah,
some,
no, it's.
Oh,
Right, so. let's
Senator
see.
Clearwater.
I motion to suspend Robert's rules for the duration of the item.
I second that.
Any discussion? Everybody was in favor of approving, suspending Robert rules for the duration of the 3-year plan discussion. Raise your hand. 5 plus. We should say 5 then.
Yeah. Yeah, if,
That's me.
Kai, are you gonna vote?
yeah, hello.
He had it there.
I think it's fast. Thank you. Robert rule is suspended for the duration of the 3-year plan discussion.
Man, I
it's
am,
just, circling.
I am doing the same.
Walk it off.
You don't want to postpone it?
I need to sleep.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
I drank so much coffee. Did you know that Bubbler has caffeine in it? 67 milligrams.
Yes.
I drank 3 of them at 5 a.m.
Kai, I think everyone else already knew that. Well, except for when you drank them.
I didn't know that. I thought it was like just sparkling water and I had so much caffeine and only caffeine because it's directly in my veins. And you're like, take all of it. I don't know. Not good. Not good today.
They have a joke I see
That
about me and.
they'll make fun of me later for this, but
They're not going to make fun.
The guy.
I don't know. It's not my best
Really
right now.
cool, and it was that when you did, it was going to be carried, when it was halfway.
And actually, I can
We
respond
did,
to
I
that.
will.
Oh, what is all
We didn't have a car, yeah.
Oh.
Actually, wait. You just have to sit back. I'm gonna have us open it and let's talk about all, and then I'm gonna have us. Like, the. Now.
Yep. Okay, everyone, so back to our mental, we're here with 3-year plan. I spent a lot of time working on this, last night, into the wee hours of the morning. And, overall, we got a lot of the basic stuff, played out here. So, a lot of stuff stayed the same for our organizational summary. So like, mission statement, history of the organization, the state statute, which mandates the creation of student senate, and the benefits to student life experience, that all stayed mainly the same. I did do a couple of updates just for accuracy, but the big things that, changed, accomplishments and events. So we can go through some of it right now, but I went like deep dive into it and added the things that we did. Resolution 1, so all the resolutions and bills are in there. Some of the things that stayed from last year to this year, but we talked about like Wolfpack Welcome, we talked about the RISE workshop, talked about the student leadership retreat that we all did in or some of us did in August, talked about WSG, talked about the party that Priscilla Dawn planned when she was here, and then talk about her like resignation. Like these are important key events that led to development of some of the things that are going on in the thing. Man, it won't stop moving.
Very sensitive.
Yep, so September, like there's a bunch of other things that we did on like, as senators to represent the school, talking about Pat, talking about like being in the podcast, what me and Kodiak did at the, talked to the legislator about like student education, like I tried to put all the stuff in there. I talked about, WSG events, the town hall that we did, the student activities feed, talked about waste core, put that in there. We talked about resolution 3. For student activities fee again, talk about doing the student activities fee, more WSG stuff. Crowder organizing the team development event to go to the athletics, the result of the activities fee referendum, the vigil that Senator Clearwater put up. I thought that was important to put in there about the equity work that we're doing. Put in again the bill that we passed for Senate inclusion and belonging. Hmong New Year, where Senator Bonmong did a lot of work for ASA, because I feel like the collaboration points, like we want to talk about how we're both senators and working with clubs. Well, I try to put as much of the stuff that we're doing together with it in there, because I think it's important to talk about the impact that we're making together as both senators and being like individuals at the school and making yourself known at those things. So maybe it wasn't exactly about the Senate stuff that we're doing, but it is important, the fact that we are senators and making an effort to be part of identity-based clubs, business professional related clubs, interest-based clubs. I think that's like the point that we're trying to emphasize that we're doing here at this college. New Senate members being in there, the position paper that we worked on with WSG, the Wolfpack Welcome stuff, Giovanni was definitely present there. Winter Fest, talking about, Giovanni's travel to DC, if you want to, emphasize more on that, you have more information than I do, so getting that information would be good. I'm talking about the Wisconsin grant funding and WSG more again, and this is the kind of things that we put on there, so if you want to actually take a look at it, then let me know if there's anything more that you wanted to have in there. I would just like for you to just have that. So that's the kind of stuff that I put in there. Feel free to please let me know if you want that added in. So let me get reviewing on your own time. For challenges and opportunities, like we had some of these discussions in the last 2 weeks, but go ahead. The Robert's rules are spending some time.
Oh, different, sorry.
You have the floor by just
to highlight some.
the air.
Sure.
So, I don't know how everyone feels about this, but this is just my feeling. For the part that's for team development, I would prefer it be the team development committee produce blank or blank.
Sure.
Just because it, like the athletics idea wasn't even mine. It was Cameron's idea.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Play wasn't mine, it was someone else's. So our team has produced the idea. So I really wanted to say team development. And if you want to put in parentheses, who was serving, I could tell you.
Cause
Huh?
y'all just went to something last week.
I did put Vice President Crowder and the team development committee.
Well, I just prefer it's at team development.
I can understand.
Because I feel like having one person's name in it makes it look like, I don't know, it takes away from the team effort, and I'm all about the team effort. I know.
It's kind of like, yeah, I almost just swallowed one of these.
And then I
The whole
said, like,
thing.
it's all about the team effort, and it sounded like all cliche or whatever, but.
I'm so glad Robert's rules was suspended.
I'm gonna find that ain't coming through.
Okay, so that's one thing that we can, oh, it's popping up in there because of the live document. Yep, okay, that's one thing I can do. I can go through there again. I think one thing I noticed, I didn't put in whenever Michael, when were you elected to vice president of public relations? Was that in January?
That was
The
January.
week we came back, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it was the second meeting after we came back.
Was it?
Because we had that whole debate about whether or not
It was
elections
2 meetings
closed.
after.
That first meeting.
Yeah.
Ow.
The second official meeting.
I'll add on that, so I'm gonna have to highlight that. So I noted that, edit that. Was there anything else that you can think of on the top of your head that we should add in there?
Did you put the in September when we do the flag thing?
Yeah, it's in there. I'm pretty sure, yep. Senate members hosted the 9/11 remembrance displays and place flags in the honors of those who lost their lives on that day.
If you want to do stuff more on the like the individual side of things, I also did a visual from residential school investigations and a memorial for the students that were lost.
What, sorry? can you repeat?
So there's now finally, the US is finally starting to dig around residential schools for the bodies of people who were victims of the places. And I did a visual this, I think it was September for it. And I'm forgetting the details of why the specific date it did, because there's like several different reasons why a person could choose a date for that particular cause or I want to say cause, that's really not appropriate.
If you want to give me the information on that, like come up with a line in there.
Yeah.
It's not that I don't want to put it in, it's not like I don't know what to put in, so. it'd be good.
Valid.
Oh my God, Christy.
So this report is to give at the student activity board?
Yeah, so it'll be for our budget, our like 3-year plan and budget request. So we'll get to the budget at the end of the document, because that's where that is. It's like the sweet stuff, but this is like everything that we've done. So like this is the context for why we exist, like why do we exist and what are we doing with our existence to justify the spending of the money? So that's why we try to give people an understanding of what it is, we're doing.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely say the stipend helps me do that individual stuff, also individuals.
It's making, if you go too high and shut it actually like, it disconnects. You know, you feel right.
Okay, so that's where we're at. Let's just go through the challenges and opportunities. Please do let me know if there's anything that you think I've forgotten, anything you want to add. Please. Got it. But yeah, I think at this point we can go to the challenges and opportunities. So for challenge, I'm sure we'll read this out loud. If there's any other challenges you think, please let me know, because this is the opportunity that I have to get all your feedback on it. Hybrid virtual meetings, it presents a challenge. Like, yes, it's an opportunity for us to make ourselves like, more present. Like if I'm traveling to like Chicago or something like that, I can, just tune in on that. If people have car troubles, they can just tune in there. But also it's like, not everyone turns on their cameras. Not everyone shares all their opinions all the time. Not everyone asks questions during all discussions. So I put that in there. Last semester, we lost 4 senators and 2 officers, collectively total. So Priscilla Dawn, Theo Shulman, and then also like, Ali, Shinthant, I can't think of people right now.
Yeah, Inez and Ogaga.
Yeah, Inez Ogaga, yep. That was.
We tried with Inez, I'm gonna be very honest, I was feeling some type of way when ultimately she had to step down regardless, because I did so much to try to keep her on the Senate.
That's how it works. Sometimes people make decisions for their lives, and I sent messages to both Ogaga and Inez.
Oh, I don't believe Inez stepped down willingly, unfortunately.
Sorry, Mike.
If I'm not mistaken, she didn't meet a criteria any longer.
Oh, well, I wasn't gonna bring that up either way. but-
Me either. I thought you did.
I did not.
My apologies.
Any personal discussion of specific individuals,
Yeah.
more private in life, because this is being recorded.
But their Senate members, so we talked about like how people were interested in like being on standing committees, ad hoc committees and shared governance council. We have a lot of interest into it, but like our internal committees are not able to function fully if we don't have members in them. So it's one of the things I put in there as a challenge. It's one of the things I want to discuss at the 3-year plan presentation. So maybe we need a restructuring of that. We had all the shared governance seats filled, but when people leave it, they end up not being filled. We don't have anyone in the academic council, no one on the, what's the other council we have missing? Yeah, so those are 2 councils. we
The
don't-
transportation analysis,
Right, so those are the other committees that we don't have people on, and part of that's because, well, maybe we have too many committees, and we need to stop stretching ourselves too thin. That's one idea, we don't know exactly what we're gonna do about it yet, but we can talk about that after we get some of the bigger ticket items down, like the 3-year plan and the Senate election. So there were times where we didn't have anyone in the executive officer position, and that made, like the other positions have to take on additional roles. So that's also a challenge that we have, so like, how do we get that to come faster and also be fair? Is there a way, can we, have people temporarily in the role? That's one idea that we have, and ultimately it's up to executive council and president. But also our Senate advisor was split, like Ellie was doing ELT stuff, and then for a period of time, like there was a transition, and now we have Sean, but Sean, had some not institutional knowledge, but we're gonna be switching again to having another more permanent advisor. So those are things to talk about, and I put that in there. And also, there's always turnover, and currently we don't have anyone actually applied, or except for Michael, so it's like theoretically, some of us are gonna put in our applications, but
We did just get another one, just
From
a
who?
few minutes ago from a Bronner, so,
okay, there we go. People making those things. So those are the challenges that we have. If there's anything that you have to think about as an additional challenge, please let me know. You can say it right now too. So I'm not gonna just go further.
I had something, but I completely forgot.
Sorry. That way, if you have anything, please interrupt me. I'm just kind of going off of whatever fugue state I'm in right now. So just like, just interrupt me. I'm totally fine with that. I'll have many things to say. Opportunities. So for opportunities, I tried to think about like what is it we could be doing. Student town halls, we could be doing more of those. Right now, we're currently what's called mandated to have like one per semester. So we'll be doing our one later on after spring break. It's good to have.
To the opportunities portion,
Sorry, what?
is there an opportunities down below?
Oh,
when we see the.
Is it written out? Because we see challenges.
oh my God, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that this document was being shared and not the. Yeah, okay, I realize now what's happening. Yes, you can't see what I see on the screen and now you can.
yeah, they can
Thank
only
you.
see the window.
Okay.
This window.
Gotcha now, so I'll be working on this. Thank you for pointing that out. So opportunity section, yeah, student town halls, like these things we've been working more on. We're thinking about March 20th for that, but that's something we can talk about later when we get there. So like getting people to work together. So I think that was the big thing, like working together with clubs, organizations, shared governance councils, statewide organizations like WSG and NACA. I mean, that's national actually, but Mass College faculty and staff members, they need to know that we're student centered, we're here to make a difference. That's what we're trying to do. Strategic partnerships with student media. Michael's been writing more of those pieces. I write for the Clarion. He writes for the Clarion, so does Kodiak. Like, we have involvement there. We have influence over, getting some of those public policy ideas out there in the media. There needs to be a partnership between public media and public policy organizations like ours, so that people know what it is we're doing. Because ultimately, we both want to serve the public just in different ways. They want to get the information out. We want to make changes happen. Let's see. Oh yeah, we want to work more with student clubs. Like all of us, like I mentioned, how we're all part of student clubs. Two, we're trying to write it more implicit into our Senate positions how we're working with clubs. So like inclusion, belonging, working with clubs. There's an appointment to be on the inter-club council, which is ran by USG. It used to be something that we did in the past, but now we don't have it. Well, it even doesn't exist right now. But if we had it, we should have a person on there. Maybe person who's inclusion belonging could be that. Obviously it's not gonna be this semester, it's a lot to take on, but maybe next semester I can be part of.
Touch base with me on that, so that way I can like look at it and see.
Yes,
how
I
it
will
goes.
let you know when it becomes a thing. It hasn't become a thing yet because they haven't hired the person to be in charge of that, but they're working on building up infrastructure, so it might not be a thing until next year. Something to think
Either
about.
way would be good to like
Yes,
flesh together, expectations if we were to put the ICD on it.
yes, that's correct. And then like obviously, Annette, your role as vice president for team development is more implicit toward working with other student orgs. So I feel like there's collaboration there, but honestly, really the entire executive council, and then from there, as the Senate leadership should be working with the entire student body or Senate body to work with the student body. So it's just making clubs more of a thing. And one thing that, and that's been really good at is like, making community events, performing arts, athletics, club events. We want to make sure that we're supporting the entirety of the student body. I don't know why there's a comment there instead of period, so my bad. But next semester we have an opportunity to work together on the presidential election. One of the organizations that's in charge of getting people for that will be like the Volunteer Center, and also Student Media is working on a project with an elections advocacy project. So that's like an opportunity that we have, and we can increase our food budget. Which is actually that was why I wanted to have a food budget, maybe like an extra $200 for like election stuff. I don't know if that's not bad, but new platform for Wolfpack Connect. Oh, this was a question I had, Sean. Are we using Wolfpack Connect to vote? I didn't remember if that was true or not.
Yep, we are using.
So we are using it. Okay, so that's what I have on there. We're gonna be using it to vote. But yeah, this is
Sean, do you know who reads this?
Reads what?
This report?
This 3-year plan?
Yeah.
I
Well,
did before
it
doing
will-
that.
SAP, when Ty presents this, will be, copies, and digital copy will be given to everyone, the members. And then they also get saved, as for the archival purposes.
Yeah, I'm concerned. I mean, Kai did a wonderful job, but it's so lengthy that I'm not sure that people is gonna read through all of it.
that's what we were.
PowerPoint.
There will be a PowerPoint presentation that I'll have ready for next week. This is the dirty details of it
Yeah.
all. Think about it. There are like 500-page documents of bills that get passed at the United States, like Assembly and Senate, but they don't present on that. There's like a 10-minute presentation, condenses all the highlights of that. If you ever read any sort of news media pieces from like Washington Post, from AP, from New York Times, they condense it all into like an 1,000-word article. And that's that's the communications piece that we're gonna have. Yes, all these details do need to be present in there so people know exactly what it is that we've done. Like this new Senate advisor needs to know that. But when we present it to people, this is not like we're not gonna point to this 15, 16-page document, 19 pages actually. I didn't realize I added 4 additional pages to it.
But President Michelle also is gonna need to utilize this document very well because, he's gonna be helping the next president-elect with the district board meeting in June and having to have good knowledge of every single one of these details. So I think the idea is the presentation, the PowerPoints for SAB members and advisors, when we talk about putting it in front of the district board to pass the next fiscal budget, this is the more the detailed thing of saying, here, if you want all the specifics, here they are, and then the Senate president gives a report on specifically the Senate 3-year plan. So
And one of the things I'll be working on is creating a 1-page executive summary. So
Yeah, so that was, I asked about the ASAP, but there's like abstract of all of this condensed to this.
I just haven't had time. I wanted to get the lengthy document done first so we can think about where do we want to hone in and focus.
which
for our
is the
presentation.
small, which is small.
Yeah, so I'll be working on that so people can look at it from 1 page with pictures and charts and stuff like that. It's my new favorite thing to do since WSG. So, so I will be making sure that we have that so we're not just sitting there talking at 1,000,000 miles per minute, So, that's a good point to make, Danny.
I like the opportunities section a lot. I feel like we have a lot of possibilities there. I think part of our biggest problem with Student Senate is that we don't have enough visibility. And even interacting with clubs where there is a group of people increases our visibility and then increases the word of mouth about Student Senate.
Ooh, say that again. Hold on. Wait, I'm gonna want you to write that down for later because that was a very good statement. And luckily this is recorded, so I can just go back to it.
There you go.
So no worries, I will go back. That was very well spoken. And that's, okay, great. So we can move on to our 3-year goals plan. So this was a big one that I came up with. I'm working with an instructor here and, some work from Alex Kaiser and people that are like more environmentally stimulated. Cody White was an inspiration for this too. So goal number 1, campus sustainability operations. This is drawing in transportation into it, but mainly there are four main goals for sustainable development there. Expanding renewable energy profile, updating recycling programs for zero waste, reevaluating mobility and transportation strategy, and developing sustainable financing and green economy standards. So the question here is what current policies exist regarding renewable energy, recycling procedures, transportation services, and sustainable financing at Madison College. So strategy 1 is really just getting an inventory of what currently exists. What are we doing here? Just so we've got a sense of like where we currently are right now. So the goals are to invite guest speakers from all those places, get a sense of what the renewable energy profile is, what our current recycling guidelines and procedures are. Reading those plans, the sustainability policy that was passed in 2020. Build the facilities master plan, which was passed in 2018, the more current one, Cody White presented on 2023, which I think has been approved, but I couldn't find that version and I just didn't have time to get to it. So I have to update that for next week. Oh my God, please stop scrolling. Let me go up. Okay, yep, and there's a bunch of action steps related to each one of the 4 sections that I mentioned there, as well as inviting people to come in and talk about those things. Second question is like based on what they are, like based on what the sustainability like research says, how do we improve our current plan? So it's like knowing where we are and thinking about where we have to go from, and then making a recommendation based on research for the next year. This is something that I'll be interested in taking up on next year, which are wrapping in all of those subject areas. So that'll be like my main big lift for that. For number 2, we largely kept it the same. There was like some minor edits and how we're doing some things. But so like one thing we did, we already found a local physical spot at Goodman South that we could put our student center office. So that exists. So that's one thing that we did accomplish. But the other thing that we didn't, I mean, obviously we want to host listening sessions at town halls at all campuses. We did not do that. It's just really hard. And how do we find a way to make that possible? One thing that me and Annette Crowder, Vice President Crowder, talking about was that we should maybe like have some sort of. I mean, it's already implicit in there that we have some like travel budget for people that do travel to campus. You get paid some mileage fee back. So like Giovanni, you've gotten reimbursed for some of the mileage you used to go to campus, right? And Janie too, right? Oh, yeah, for office hours?
Oh, for office hours.
Oh, but do we reimburse them for
Yeah,
transportation?
yeah, I'm, DP Carter's getting reimbursed. Yes, if anyone else wants the reimbursement, tell me. I gotta do, the form things, and so I'm, have like a couple of them to do, so,
What do I get reimbursed?
For your mileage?
you get two different, in terms of distance, you get 2 different, times that you can use as a reimbursement option. Which when we did the math at that moment on the spot, it came out pretty, equitable and like, you don't, it's not like you get screwed over or whatever, you're getting reimbursed for, very well, I think is.
Yeah, so even if you're traveling more, it would have probably covered like 2 other trips. Say you're
Yeah.
getting reimbursed for 1, it would probably cover 2, and depending on the gas mileage that, your car utilizes more.
So, if you do have any specific, ones that, again, I have a few of these Chuck across reports that have to get done. So that's including, VP Crowder, if you, have a distance travel that you can have, that you can give me some sort of thing that I can support as, supporting the documentation, email me, all right?
When it comes to outreach to outside of metropolitan area, are we limited to just doing regional campuses? Because with our online classes, hold on. With being able to be online for students and everything, technically, we could really recruit from like all over the state and everything. Are we limited to just the campuses?
Well, I mean, obviously, when we decided to change it from saying direct senators to general senators, the rationale was because we have people who are from all over it. There maybe some are specifically online students. So, but it's kind of a delicate walk because until they become technically students, right? We advocate for all students at Madison College and Madison College community, which includes all campuses and includes online. I guess we'll play this on, I guess my best answer is we'll play it on a specific scenario basis, right? If, because we've never had someone actually ask a question like that before. I mean, like legitimately, I don't have, at first I thought you were talking about the fact of a student who is not yet a student. And that's why, and then I remember, then it like hit me that you were saying there were online specific student that may be outside the reach of the regional campuses or the Massey College area. Then my first thought was, just, we have never had a question asked in that sense. We technically support those students. But I would see, we'd have to have justification as to why we're driving that far out for maybe one student, and instead if we can find
We
an
have more.
opportunity that we could get a group of students.
Yeah.
That would make a lot more of a justifiable rationale.
So where I wanted to go next with that was actually, is there a way we can find out more of the information where our online students more congregate to?
I would check with institutional effectiveness on that.
Yeah, and there's also the student satisfaction surveys. We need, the number one thing to think about here is like, how are we bringing in like actual like data from the things that we're looking at to make some of these changes? Like in the first one
Exactly.
here. Yeah, so like I wanted to use the sustainability policy in the facilities master plan. I wanted to talk about our current renewable energy profile, with the energy profile, what we're using, usage and billing data. How much money are we spending with our energy profile there? Also commuter service options. So there's general usage data out there. I have it actually, but I just haven't looked at it because I've been focused on this, and also divestment strategy. It's like, what are other colleges currently doing for what are other colleges currently doing for their divestment strategies and making sure that we have sustainable financing with economic, societal, and governance and social governance practices? These are the things that we're trying to look for here. So we should approach the Goodman South and campus advocacy the same way and be strategic about it too. So we need to look at some of that data. We try to do that, but just for Michael, I know you're chair of that committee. Those are the things that we want you to look at. There are specific action steps outlined for it. So if you're wondering what to do on that committee, this is what you should be doing. We need to use these action steps to our advantage and try and make those changes. For number 3, alumni relations. I did the courtesy of building out your idea, and hopefully you can make this come to life here. So for alumni relations, we were going to talk to Jack Daniels about it, but not here today, maybe another time. But okay. Hopefully it'll be there. I'm not touching it anymore. Develop initiatives to build relationships with Madison College for the benefit of current students and extending the community to create a legacy of student graduates. Feel free to, edit that language, but that's generally what we're trying to do. Maybe you can make it, sound smoother and stuff like that, but that's what we want to do. I came up with 3 action steps for that. Work in partnership with the Madison College Foundation, inviting them to General Assembly meetings to learn more about their operations, services, mission, vision, strategic goals for the future. And also just getting to know who they are and how they work and operate will be good in figuring out how we're going to insert ourselves into this conversation. Read documentation, external communications related to Madison College Foundation. So like basically we need to go to their website, figure out what it is that they're doing. Like, there's one side of it like getting them to come to us. But we also got to do our research and figure out who they are with the available resources that currently exist. And also, what are other colleges doing that have successful alumni relations? What is UW doing? Maybe we need to talk to their alumni foundation. Like, how do you get all of them to donate money to you? Like we want our people to donate money to us too. So hopefully they'll give us some trade secrets, maybe not all of it, but right, legacy, right? But people should be proud to go to Madison College. I'm proud. I sure get my education here. Frankly, a lot of this was paid for through, the workforce development grant program. I'm that student. So a lot of what I'm paid here is paid for through a grant. Not everything, but Madison College Foundation helps me support that. But a lot of it's I'm covered through the Department of Workforce Development. So that's my story here and how I'm able to come here. The last thing is, do we need to create a position to manage alumni relations? And maybe it's not just student senate. Maybe that's funded through something else, like ambassador program. Or maybe it's a co-funded position, or maybe it's a position that works together. We need to figure out what it is, because it took a while for us to get, inclusion and belonging there. Maybe this is the startups, they're being alumni relations.
I think where you're going with that latter, the one where it's both us and another executive team. But like the ambassador, yeah.
Yeah, and that's, that's the number one theme that I've worked into this student plan. How are we working with Volunteer Center? How are we working with PAC for regional outreach? How are we working with student media for student elections? How are we working with ELT on club funding and financing? How are we working with UCG on the Interclub Council? There's a lot of opportunity for us to be integrating ourselves as Student Senate within the other organizations that exist. And that's frankly where we should be, because that's what Student Senate is, advocating for other students. So we need to make ourselves not just present for ourselves, but for the other organizations and clubs on campus, because that's the easiest way that we can show that we care.
Stacy Brunner has a question about reimbursements with the driving.
Can you send me, like I said, can you send me an email, so that we can, that would be more of I mean, yes, we have I don't know if we've been keeping time on this 45 minutes of no, Robert's rules, but I feel like we could be talking about the best way of using our time right now would be to be talking about the 3-year plan, and we can discuss the reimbursement stuff outside of this meeting, and so that's why I don't know if it's Sarah or Stacy, but whatever runner, if you could please just email me with your question. I mean, I've been doing a good job, I think, of responding back to you in a timely manner, so hopefully we can continue that way.
We'll get that figured out. Don't worry.
Be happy.
Mrs. Brenner. Yeah, there we
Don't
go.
worry, be happy. But
Here's a question. We don't have Madison College Student Senate anymore. Should I direct people to our Wolfpack site? I'm guessing.
yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
well, I'll have to update that. Wolfpack site. Boom.
yeah, this is funny. These are all the questions I did actually respond to last night.
Oh, I didn't see it. Where? I didn't see it.
I don't, that's the thing, I saw on my thing, I responded to them, and I'm not seeing them either, so. I'm
Oh,
like-
what, the questions that I wrote at
Like
7
you
a.m.
asked
in the
that,
morning?
and asked how it's sent, I said like, yeah, we don't have that.
So I didn't wake up at 6, just to be clear. I stayed.
It was right at around 6 when you started sending me stuff, so I had a feeling you'd probably been up.
Yeah, I have been up. Yeah, I did not sleep last night. Well, I did, but not last night, but like last morning. But anyways, the member responsibilities stayed the same. Nothing really changed in there. Only thing I did was add the IB inclusion and belonging coordinator, IBC. So that's literally took that from the text. You'll see here that I actually did make requests in the budget. So things that are happening here, we're making requests to increase the student senate budget and upping the presidential, what's it called, the vice president. So president stays, it's not up to 20 hours a week. I believe it's 15 hours a week. Giovanni, do you get paid for 20 hours a week worth? Or 15?
I mean, technically not this year because the 3-year plan that was presented for the last fiscal budget to be approved was the reduced 20 to 15 hours. So, and yeah, I'm gonna answer you with your question by saying it should be 15 from what we were just told earlier.
Okay, well, we're doing 15. That's fine.
I never put that much.
Really?
No, it's like for me, it's what I do most important. Like if I talk to you, like, or I respond an email, I don't really put that as like,
Up to
I
you.
put it as office hours, but not as pay hours.
You can do both.
That would technically be, that's the reason, and I mean, that's crazy, dude. I mean, that's the rationale as to why it was changed to the way it was done is the things that you do, all the tiny little things, that's specific work that would be office hours that you would have to be available to do, that you should be reporting.
So he's the guy that changed it, and the reason why is because think about it, like how many hours you have to work at your job at the casino. You know what I mean? Like maybe you wouldn't have to if you got paid out here. So it's something to think about, but we want to pay you. I'd like to see you.
I will get paid.
Right? Instagram stories, I want to see you get Instagram stories like, damn, look at all this money the student senate paid me. Damn, I took a vice president burrito out for lunch. Isn't that good? Is that all this money now? I'm just kidding. You don't have to. Okay, but I did make a request to increase our vice president budget up to 1,000 and our Senate, what's it called? Our senator budget was 750. That's the max that we can request. So I just said, hey, we're doing a lot of work here and it's good quality work. We're making a difference here. Why don't we get the max that we can request? So that is, those guidelines are set in there. I can get that document for you by next week, I think, that compensation study for student activities. So if you want to know about that, that's what it is. An idea that I had, because no one has been consistently doing the meeting minutes notes, maybe it should be like a rotating thing. For every single meeting minute you complete, it's $16. And 16 times the 16 weeks is $256. That's at 16 squared, basically. So perfect square. Normally it'd be $250 for, or we want to increase the inclusion belonging letter and communications coordinator from 200 per term to 250. And if you did 16 per each approved meeting minutes, it would be about 250. It's slightly over the amount, but I think that's fine. We could bring it down to 15, but either way, if someone wanted to, like for every meeting minute completed, you just pay them $15 and then it would get done.
Okay,
Yes.
question. how we gonna, how we gonna divide that? How, because now imagine the next week I say, you know what? I maybe need the next extra $15. I just do it.
Well, you can't be the president. You're not
Okay,
allowed.
no, I'm talking about if I was a senator.
Okay.
Now, because it's gonna create a confusion, because it's like, if I'm waiting, like, let's say this week I want, or let's say this month, I need the extra. Just say, I need the extra. I do it this month. How I'm gonna know who's gonna do it next?
We could have so this is not fully fledged out, but we could have signups. We could, I mean, the executive council ultimately decides together with you, the president and the senate advisor. So like they would decide ultimately, but however we wanted to implement it, we get to choose. So that's one way to do it. We could just choose, hey, this person's interested, they're doing consistent tasks. We're not gonna open it up. We're gonna say, okay, it's gonna be practically the same thing. And they're gonna, every single meeting, they're gonna get it. They're gonna basically be getting the stipend by turning in all their meeting minutes. And also, if they don't do all their jobs, then they're already, like, let's say 1 week they're not able to complete it, well, then they just got -15. So, and they made that choice, and maybe there's some reason why they couldn't, maybe there's like in the hospital, there's, you know, like a family emergency, stuff like that. But I do think that maybe that'll help motivate other people from doing it, and it ends up being about the same amount, and it allows for other people to take advantage of it, because if one person ends up dropping out, then it's like, well, who do you give the money to? You know what I mean? Because that person, do they get half of it? Do you split in half? Like, it kind of answers the question.
For me, I feel like the confusion gonna be, is it the communication coordinator only doing the minute? Because that is the issue when we were starting in the summer. That is why we were gonna divide it between two people. It's because it's not only the minute. If it was not only the minute, if you think we just say it's the minute only, the communication coordinator, we will have someone who do it, like, that's for sure.
Are you sure?
Yeah, that's for sure.
I disagree with you on that.
No.
It's because really,
Because
EP Malone in this position right now would be talking to the communications coordinator saying, hey, we need to,
get this done.
I talked with Advisor Green, we need to be making sure that we're getting stuff on Wolfpack Connect. I need you to be posting these specific things that I've already prepared and written out. Because as the VP of Public Relations, you're the voice of Senate, right? So as you're the image, Public Relations is the voice. He's drafting up how we're gonna, you know, say and then how we're gonna present ourselves to you know, that image, and giving to the communication coordinator who's then posting that on our social platforms at Wolfpack Connect. Communication, so it's why, you know, when you were at one point, VP Malone tried to kind of I'm gonna call it out and say you mislabeled what the different, you know, you didn't really identify the differences. It's like they have to work hand in hand, right? Also have to work hand in hand with, you know, the VP of AF here, because that other half is within the minutes. I mean, the minutes though is the brewing part. I mean, yeah, it's been kind of a pain. It's been a little bit of a pain because I have been doing I'm gonna call it the emceeing of a meeting, right? You know, I'm making sure checking and everything, you know, who's got hands up and who's in the chat. But really, realistically, I have genuinely two pages of notes right now of just, you know, I am a little more of a specific person, but these are just the bare things. And it's not, we've had in the past this position taking notes during meetings. It really, you take an hour out of your week really to watch your recording, but you're recording and just type up the minutes. It should be the easier thing, but I think it is looked at as a time consuming task. Well, a job is time consuming in general, and that is you get paid for you know, you give up your time for money, right? So you're just taking orders for the other part that I mean, yes, you want me to go more specific? You're also supposed to be, you know, that phone that's in the Senate office. Did you know that thing rings sometimes?
I've never.
Yes.
Yeah, and when it does ring, or someone leaves a message, it's, you're supposed to be, responding back to the voice messages as well. That's also the communications coordinator job, as well as responding back to the Senate at Madison College official email address. That's another thing you're supposed to be doing. At any time, the VP of Public Relations, why I was joking that if we have no communications coordinator, the VP of PR ends up doing the job, is because at any moment, the VP of PR can easily identify that this needs to be handled and jumps into the role because they have all the credentials and ability and oversight to do so. I mean, the communications coordinator was meant to be, to split a task that was a bigger task so that other things could be addressed that were public relations matters or areas that public relations could explore, not instead of having to do more of the time consuming areas, you know. We have now come into a digital age where we have automation processes. A lot of things can be done without having to technically man those stations or, you know, however you want to say it. And so it's the minutes that are causing the problem here. I can understand why it sucks to have to go through the minutes. I've done it myself, but we need the minutes for how we operate, right?
Well, let's touch back base on that. That's where the reports come in handy, like we said many, many times.
Reports then are supposed to be then sent to the, ideally, they should be sent to the communications coordinator, but if they get sent to the VP of AF, then the VP of AF make sure to get them over to the communications coordinator. Also, I love how the VP of AF this so far has been giving our agendas to this Sankey newsletter so that it can be posted. Well, another aspect is the website. We want to post that agenda on the website. That is also supposed to be, you know, you hand off the agenda to the communications coordinator, they post it on the website. I have been over the last, since I took on this temporary role, after every meeting, going home and downloading the video and posting it on our Wolfpack site, uploading it to YouTube, and you know, putting in the specific meta tags to help give us more search result hits. All that stuff is very easy and fast to do, and I'm saying that from somebody who is already over my time every week. And I literally am supposed to be working, and it's very fast and easy to do. It just, again, I think the mentality is we get excited when we start in the Senate with all the things we can possibly do. We don't realize that when fall hits, we go, holy crap, we have our school work and our studies to do as well. And then the reality of saying we have to now pick priorities. We still are passionate about both of them, but now priorities are dropping, and Senate usually is the first priority that gets dropped. So could better training happen, better ways of doing that? Yeah, I'm very happy to hear that VP Carter and VP and Senator Corr, you had been mentioned some of these ideas. I mean, using MS Teams for meetings, Robert, these are all great things, right? And how can we continue to improve? Because if we get the mentality across that minutes are not a grueling task, they can be a very manageable task. It might change the way that it's being seen and done. But I think this, like I was telling VP Breeder, I don't know if this idea will work, but the fact is it could. And until we know and we have data to suggest one way or the other, it's worth the trial.
So let me just say this, Giovanni, I think you're right. I think it would be ideal to have one person do it, but that's not happening right now. I mean, Michael, was it easy to do the meeting minute notes? How many hours did you spend on that?
That was strenuous.
Michael would log
I was
4 to 6 hours.
I was maybe a perfectionist, that maybe a little too much, but
I don't think you outdid what I did once.
For me, it's like you didn't get my point. My point was,
I'm sorry.
if we go to $16 every minute was like someone submit, we just decrease the value of the position, because the position is minute posting, collaborating with the VP of public relations. But because we cannot have it, we just say, okay, we're gonna pay someone to just do the minute, just the minimum for $16. Now, and we say if we get someone, we're gonna pay them $250 to do the whole thing. That is like the discrepancy I'm talking about.
That actually leads to what the idea of the things that we can't see the first time, right? That's a
No, no, no.
very great
So
thought process.
if someone wanted to do that, they could do that. We would do that instead. This is an option. If no one wants to do that, this is what the secondary choice would be. Because ideally, we want to do that. That's what we would do in the first place, if we could find someone to do that.
But
Or would we implement all of the things that the communication
We're
system
talking-
does?
like the thing we're talking about is we're making decision. Like this is why the budget we're making,
Yes,
it's for the next Senate.
yes.
We cannot make a decision to say,
No, we're not.
nobody gonna do it.
We're not. So,
But-
wait. So, no, you don't understand.
Yeah.
This is a secondary option. This is one option as a choice. It'll be about the same. So this is like an either or, because who decides? It's not executive council decides. I'm not taking away anything. I'm giving them an opportunity to choose. Now there's both choices. They can choose to have one position, or they can choose to have it set up this way. It
Yeah.
depends on.
I mean, right now, what do? We have a vacant spot. We have, nobody wants to do it, we're screwed.
Yeah, so I like your idea too. I
It's
want
like a
it to be.
contingency plan, basically.
Right, this is basically an option. If it doesn't work out, you don't find anyone, then this is what you would do. Because you need to have an option, because right now we don't have
Well, we
anyone.
should make sure to identify steps and processes for that option.
But
then
you're right,
make
we
a
want to
plan,
make
right?
sure that people do choose the first option.
No.
That would be good.
Okay. What I'm saying is, we're asking an increase in our budget was not reflecting our bylaws. Because the bylaws say what we can do. And we cannot asking something over our bylaws, like we have to stay. Even if we wanna act, like for me, I feel like if we wanna ask for more, it should be changed from the bylaws. Because if, let's say, someone is at the SAB, they look at our bylaws and be like, oh, you wanna change the position, but you didn't change it in your own bylaws.
This requires no change from the bylaws. It's in compliance with the bylaws because the bylaws allow you to have more than one senator, in that position. So as long as they never
Like, we
stipulated.
pay for every minute submitted.
It doesn't say that we can't do that.
I would say.
No, it doesn't.
We can, I think that a big part of this should fall onto that specific firm and E-team to come up with an agreed upon solution. But I do think though, to some degree, just like the inclusion and belonging coordinator, there needs to be a template of how a path should be in a position and then a backup position should go. Not a specific, this is how it must be, but just a guidance of a document, right? And so I think that's something that would have to be thought and brainstormed a little bit, but this at least makes sure that the funding is available so that when, say, because usually bylaw reviews our summer activity, that when we do add that in the bylaws, we can be able to fund that.
And it's only a $6 increase.
And
So
yeah,
it's not
and we check,
that much.
this was all checked through with Ellie as just the barrel, I felt like at the time when I met with Ellie, Kai met with us, I wasn't expecting that originally because I was going to be talking about just verifying some of the things that Kai was suggesting, just to make sure that I'm getting the green check light, and not, promising or guaranteeing something that I couldn't deliver on. And she's not subjecting to any of it. So, which is a good thing.
So yeah, it only increases $6. Obviously, I agree with you. I don't want it to work out this way. I would like one position, but
One quick question, can we collectively come back together and make since we haven't been keeping time on this 35 minutes of open round tables, that we all collectively come to a decision right now and decide, just for reference of meeting time, or we want to play this out, the rest of this out, like,
let me spend
we
3
keep
minutes. on this.
going, or
Can
do
we
we-
review?
Let me finish this. I'm gonna spend 3 minutes finishing this. We're almost done.
Okay.
And then you can make a decision. Or well, we're not even deciding now. We can decide next week because these are all ideas. Anything can change from this week to the next. We have to get it approved by next week, Thursday.
Which
What?
is why I wanted to say, can we revisit that aspect next week?
Yep, we're gonna revisit that next week. Let me finish it. So we'll talk about next week. Think about it, everyone. If you like it, if you don't like it, let me know. I can always take things out. It's too complicated. Doesn't need to happen this year. So if you don't want it, we can just remove it. No, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
That's hated every.
No,
I didn't run again yet, so, no.
it doesn't matter. He's president now. And that's what matters.
Yeah.
So overall, this last year, we ended up getting a budget allocation of $47,000 and $47,570. We ended up getting. We're making a request. Last year, our request was for $55,000. This year, our new request is $58,000, which is an overall 21.9% increase, but only a 5.45% what's it called, increase from what we should have gotten. This is what we ideally would have gotten had the student activities fee not been there. So it's not actually that much. 5.5%, 5.45% is actually pretty standard for a budget increase. And maybe 4% is closer to going a little bit over on it. But there's cool things we have written in there. Student health. This is the whole discussion that we just had. Ends up being $43,200 of it. Travel conference. I added back in the NACA conference. We have room for 5 officers. So the president and the 4 other vice president roles. If they want to come, if there's not open room, then we could admit other people with applications and sort of discussions about who it is. And that's what it ended up being for the NACA. I don't know where it is this year yet. We can still apply for it, but get the funding, then we can go to it. That'll be like our summer leadership stuff. I know that Annette, you talked about like a summer leadership like retreat, like with the Senate, like an internal leadership retreat. So I don't know how much that would cost, but I think that might cost $1,000. I'm wondering if we can like put another 1,000 in like socials and maybe just to like more travel. So we can talk about that next week. I'll add that in there if that seems like enough. Do you think $1,000 is enough to plan like a leadership team retreat? So yeah,
Put 1,200 just to be safe.
sure, 1,200. Well, let's just do leadership. Okay, well, I can't spell it right now. Team retreat.
Sean, did you guys do leadership retreats when you were in office?
The closest thing we did was, the NACA summer series, which was they had to be online due to COVID. And when we had opportunities to get together, we did, things like a lot of them online based, like watching Halloween scary movie for Halloween online, or we
Okay.
finally got the opportunities. We did like sort of listen.
So you guys did the COVID version of.
The ropes course was something that, yeah, but
So, yep, those are the things that we're doing. So I'm added in that extra 1,200. I'll figure out how the percentages work, but it won't be too much of an increase. Food, we're only at $200 worth of food this year. So I mean, $1,000 seems to be the proper thing to go to. And Annette, if you want to spend a nice fancy dinner for us, maybe at Samba, just kidding, that we won't be able to afford that, but would be nice to do.
and we've got the budget for them fancy pens, so.
Possibility. Membership subscription, our WSG membership costs about 1,200-ish, right? 1,100.
Yeah.
So that's what it ends up costing, plus the constant contact email service. Really, we split the costs not evenly with the Clarion. I mean, they use it more than we do, so I mean, we get some kickback. So we're just there to help them split the cost. 2,000. We don't need to increase our budget for their sake. They're going to do their own budget increase. So I think it's fine to keep continuing to pay them the rate that we're at. And until Doug says otherwise, we don't need to be so charitable with that because they can ask for their own funds. So
They
supplies,
use it way more than we do.
they do, and we're helping support that, but we don't need to mention that to anyone, so. Just keep that down. So supplies, I increased it by $200 because of the business cards and name tags. Copying, printing, I stayed the same, advertising stayed the same, we have a contract with the Clarion, out $200 per month of the entire year, which ends up being $2,400, so that's where the overall price is. It just increases a little bit more, so it's now $59,200, but that is the 3-year plan, and we can discuss more about it next week since we're pretty much at time.
Yeah.
Thank you all, and please do go through it yourself, add the comments, allow me to change, and I'll get it ready for next week. Because I really want those in by Wednesday so I can make the PowerPoint presentation on Thursday.
You guys see a lot from Giovanni. Giovanni's gonna.
Are you gonna, well, what?
Giovanni. He's gonna put a lot of comments in there.
No.
I already give my comment.
But we want to listen to you, so.
New business, Senate election question, new vice president position, you already did.
What? Sorry, what?
On a table, or do you want to?
Oh my God, I guess the important thing is that people should apply for, no, we should table it.
I'm gonna
Okay,
make a motion to table.
Good.
Okay, any discussion? Everybody's in favor of? I didn't even say it. You-
How
You already got 4 votes for it.
happens every single time.
Everybody was in favor of tabling the new business item, Senate election question, new vice president position, raise your hand. Okay, I only have 5, 6, 7,
Go online.
8.
Yep.
That's 9. Thank you. Non-business housekeeping call for application for the communication coordinator. Please, we need you guys, please. Just someone do the ultimate sacrifice. Announcement, our next meeting will be on Thursday, 29th, same room, same time. And anybody who's interested in going to the original people's meeting, there is no obligation. You can just let me know. Then in a motion, what do you want to do? To be balloons,
I make a motion to adjourn.
you just,
That's actually.
Senator Clearwater seconded. Any discussion? Everybody was in favor of adjourning for this meeting, raise your hand.
Thanks for joining, Racy.
They're almost on time when we had it.
Thank
4,
you.
5, 6, 7.
We move to adjourn the meeting at 6:31. Thank you, everybody.
I think already you were standing up.
I don't know you guys.
I'm really
You
sorry.
make